Hello, everybody. My name is Akiba Leisman. I'm the CEO of Mako Mining. Now, this is a very exciting moment for both Mako and Sailfish. On May 12th, we started to put the high grade through our operating plant, which was initially scoped out to be a 500 ton per day operation in northern Nicaragua. This is about 16.5 gram material that's going through the mills right now. We are operating at a level that we deem to be commercial production. We're going to need to have some level of sustainability to make sure that our accounting is declared a commercial production, which we're targeting for July 1st. But this is the first moment in Mako's history that we're processing what is the highest grade open pit mine in the world, bar none. Now, as this relates to Sailfish, the presentation that you're going to be hearing about later today, is that Sailfish right now retains 3% of the effective gold that's going to be coming from the San Albino deposit. So right now we've started to sell gold. Sailfish has started to collect its revenue from that. And in the very near future, we're going to be ramping up production to 500 tons per day with the expectation that we're going to be doubling production at 1,000 tons a day by the very end of next year. Now, how are we going to do this? The overall resource at San Albino is relatively small. It's about 270,000 ounces in all categories. That being said, the resource just over at San Albino was only delineated on about 230 meters of strike length. On our property concessions, 188 square kilometers, of which Sailfish has a royalty on the vast majority of those claims, we have already extended any strike extension of the San Albino vein for an additional 7 kilometers to the northeast of our deposit. So there's a few areas of growth that we have in the back of us over at Mako. First is to develop what we believe to be a deposit directly to the south, an area called Las Conchitas. We have an internal three-dimensional model on that. By the first half of next year, we're going to be putting out our maiden resource at the Las Conchitas area, of which Sailfish has a 2% royalty on, with the ability to begin mining it at the very end of 2022, such that the full year of 2023 will be mining at 1,000 tons a day between San Albino and Las Conchitas, of which Sailfish will retain its share of those proceeds. In the longer term, we do believe that we have the potential to find a multitude of San Albinos on our 188 square kilometer land package. So the first time in Mako's history, we're going to be putting drill holes outside of the direct San Albino and Las Conchitas areas, really for the first time. This has been a deposit, an area, a mining camp that has been known about for hundreds of years, but there has not been a single bit of modern exploration with the drill bit to occur outside of direct areas over at San Albino and Las Conchitas. And again, Sailfish does have a royalty on the vast majority of those 188 square kilometer the ground and concessions that Mako currently owns. So this is an extremely pivotal moment for both Mako and Sailfish. This is the first time that Mako is able to process gold in a level that we would deem to be commercial. This is the first time that Sailfish is receiving royalty proceeds from the operation. And now we have the ability to have our both the operating company Mako and the royalty company Sailfish grow over time. Sailfish is going to be at this interesting transition point where it's going to be receiving its first cash flows coming from Mako. It's going to be in the process of spinning off its exploration asset. So Swordfish, the spin-off company over at Sailfish, can go and invest in the projects that it owns. And then what Sailfish will be a royalty company that has a portfolio of very robust royalties with the ability to have cash coming in the door that will then get dividended out to shareholders. So this is an extremely important moment for both Mako and Sailfish. We have the ability to generate revenues in a commercial capacity coming from San Albino. Sailfish has its other royalties that will be growing over time. Sailfish has excess cash right now, and with the proceeds coming in, it will initiate a dividend program as well. And on top of that, Sailfish spinning off its exploration asset over its Swordfish will make this a much simpler company for investors to understand. Mako, since May 12th, has been putting the high grade through its mill. And by high grade, there's so far since May 12th, we've been processing 16.5 gram gold. Our high-grade stockpile, which is well in excess of 8,000 ounces of gold, contains over a half-ounce material. We're going to be processing exclusively the high-grade between now and the end of the quarter at the end of June, after which we're going to be blending some of the high-grade and the low-grade. At 500 tons per day, at those types of grades, is actually going to be quite a bit of cash flow coming not only to Mako, but also through the 3% effective royalty interest that Sailfish has on this property. On top of that, we have a 9.56 gram per ton measured and indicated resource over at San Albino. At 500 tons per day, when we get up to that level, assuming we are going to be producing somewhere in the neighborhood of 9.5 grams, that equates to a high 40,000 ounce run rate based on our expectations for metallurgical recoveries. So without providing direct guidance in terms of what the cash flows will be coming into Sailfish or for Mako for that matter, just putting simple math on these numbers at today's gold prices does mean that there is going to be a significant amount of cash coming not only to Mako, but also a significant amount of cash coming into the royalty arm over at Sailfish. Really, the vast majority of that cash flow coming into the company will then be dividended out to shareholders as part of our long-term dividend strategy over at Sailfish. So for all the investors out there, I encourage everybody to follow what both Mako and Sailfish are doing. Obviously, I sit on both sides of the spectrum, being CEO of Mako and an executive chairman over at Sailfish. Again, I just want to reiterate, this particular month in May of 2021 happens to be the most pivotal month within Sailfish and Mako's history, where this is really the first time that we're able to have a commercial operation with a substantial amount of cash flow coming into Sailfish, where we're going to be able to manage both the Mako and Sailfish businesses in a way that has never been managed before.